Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. See, we have a different looking background today. Yeah, we do. A little green going on. Um, I'm glad you're here. Got some really good stuff happening, some real nice challenges going on. And I'm glad you're here to enjoy them with us. That's the big thing, to enjoy them with us. I'm Rev.R. And you are here at Unity of Chicago South. Um, we call ourselves a Beyond Walls spiritual community, a Beyond Walls spiritual community. And what you see behind us is folks that we hope are logging in and coming on and watching and participating in what we are doing. With that said, I want to remind everyone that there is an infinite source available to all of us, to each and every one of us. It's there for each who seek it, no matter their race, gender, or religion. Now, you can believe what you may, but you should know that the source of the universe is also the source of each of us. And therefore, the principle supporting the stars is the principle supporting and available to each of us. As I declare this statement in the first person, I do declare it for all. I am open and receptive for this divine living principle. Father, Mother God, I am grateful. This is my declaration. This is my truth. And as I accept it, so it becomes. And I know that all is well and well indeed. What is this place? What is this place that you've come to today on Sunday, May 17th? Well, it's a place that we welcome you to. Some of you we welcome back, and some we welcome for the first time. A space that we call practical spiritual living, offered to you through Unity of Chicago South. And I'm Reverend R. Ken. I consider myself your guide as we continue this journey from theory that we've been dealing with for the last 5 weeks into expression, into living the principles. You see, over the past several weeks, we have explored awareness, release, reframing, alignment, and action. And today, we begin a new series, Living the Principles. Not simply understanding principles and spiritual ideas, but actually learning how to implement them, how to live them in our everyday life. And we begin where all things begin. We begin with faith. And I know you've heard this. You've heard that faith is the substance of things hoped for and evidence of things not seen. The epistles or letters to the Hebrews from Paul. You see, faith is the perceiving power of the mind linked with a power to shape substance, from Charles Fillmore. And in Buddhism, faith is not blind belief, but confidence. Confidence developed through experience, practice, and an inner realization. And finally, in the words of Dr. Martin Luther King, faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. Even when. Now, those voices come from different traditions, yet they all point toward the same direction. Faith is more than wishing. Faith is more than positive thinking. Faith is the willingness to continue moving even when visible evidence has not yet fully appeared. And let me say, that can be difficult because most people, but you might be unique, but if you most people, I fall into the most people, even though sometimes I feel like I'm on the edge of most people. You say, what do you mean? You see, most people want certainty before movement. I feel that sometimes, but I have to believe, I have to lean on what I think is my faith to take the step, even though the certainty is not yet in place. The scripture says faith is substance of things hoped for. And the word substance is so very important here. You see, in the traditional biblical sense, substance points towards something real, something foundational, something that possesses actual essence. Even if it's not yet visible, it has an essence, even though it's not yet visible. But in New Thought, the idea expands even further. Substance is understood as the invisible spiritual essence, the underlying creative reality from which form emerges. From which form emerges. Substance. So behind the building, the car, the house, the job, there's an idea. And from that idea, reality, expressed reality, lived reality comes. See, faith is not wishful thinking. Faith is the ability, it says, the ability to perceive, see it, feel it, and then cooperate with a deeper reality. Faith, that deeper reality is faith. A deeper reality that is there before that thing, that idea fully appears in physical form. Before the building is built, there's an idea. Before the healing appears, there's often a shift in consciousness. Before change appears outwardly, something begins moving inwardly. First, the inner movement, first, the change in consciousness, first, the upliftment of consciousness, first, the heightening of consciousness, and then the appearance. See, faith recognizes substance, spiritual essence, before the form of it becomes visible. Faith recognizes substance before form becomes visible. So how many times have you practiced faith without even knowing it? Knowing that it's going to be okay, knowing that it can work itself out, knowing that that was your faith in action. Fillmore taught that faith is a spiritual faculty, a capacity within us to perceive possibility beyond present appearances. But I can be, I'm going to be, it will be. Does not have to be some type of fantasy, but we can connect it to our spiritual perception, and then we are operating in faith. See, most people think that faith means never having any doubt. Let me stop you there. You can have faith and doubt at the same time. So if you can, what does that mean? That just means that with faith, you have the ability, the energy, the focus to simply continue while there's uncertainty in the situation. While it's still present, the faith says, I'm going to keep going. And there are those that are in our lives, and there are those that are in your life, and there are those that don't understand. And then there are those that understand and want to help us implement our faith. You say, what's the difference, Rev? What's the difference, Rev? Well, those that don't understand can't see what you see. And therefore, they are limited in what they can provide to support your vision. And then there are those that understand, but they don't provide the sympathy. You say, well, Rev, they ain't giving me no sympathy. How am I gonna make it? Because they understand and they say, I know what you need to tap into your faith. Because I know that it's there. And I know that you just not connecting right now. So I'm going to help you connect because that's what I do. You say, well, what's the difference? You say, what's the difference? Well, the difference is simply this. Those that don't understand, do not dismiss them. You say, don't dismiss them. They have a purpose in your life. But those that do understand and push you beyond your perceived ability, comprehension, desire, they were like little gold nuggets. Yes, they must be tempered, but they must be embraced because that's the energy that will connect you to the faith, and the faith is the thing that will bring forth that which is within you that wants to express. Applying for the opportunity before you feel fully ready. There are those in your life, there are those around you that will help you do that. And you say, well, how are they going to help? Are they going to do this for me and do that? They just have the influence, the energy to put around you to say, okay, I can. I might fail, but I can. I might fall, but I can. We have a saying that you don't fail until you quit. So take advantage of that energy that's around you that says, did you think about applying? Did you think about submitting? Did you think about it? Because you probably could. While you might be thinking, I don't want to be disappointed again. Can you see the disconnect between faith and action? You have the energy, it's been put around you to say, why don't you take that step? But you have these barriers, and you say those barriers are because I'm protecting myself. Those barriers are because I have not connected to the faith that's within me already. Because with the support of that little thing, say, why don't you just submit? Put the application in. Try. Make an offer. Just with that energy around you, that's the energy that spirit has put in your life, allowed you to connect with so that you can connect with your faith. See, that means you begin the healing process before the conditions change because you have the faith. Why? It's not fanciful thinking. It's saying that there is a possibility because there's something greater than me that can do things beyond my comprehension. And I have the free will, the ability. I've been given the gift to connect with that. That is the faith. The ability to take one step forward, just one small step without seeing the entire path clear. You're looking, it's like, oh, it looks a little overgrown there with the trees and the weeds. But I see it's a path there. I was told that on the other side there might be something. But I'm looking at the weeds. I'm looking at the overgrowth. I'm looking at the underbrush. That's what I'm seeing. And someone comes along and says, look, you can get through that stuff. Don't worry about it. Just push it aside. And you say, well, I'm not sure I can do it. They say, yeah, you could do it. Just try it. And you go and you push it aside. You say, oh, it moves kind of easy. You don't have to see the entire path. You got to have the faith. You have to have the faith of knowing that the faith is already there. You don't have to go out and buy some. They don't sell it at the store. You see, it's about applying. It's about beginning. It's about stepping forward. Actions that extend beyond words that are used to teach or talk about faith, or to talk about faith in the experience of a living transformational faith. You have to take the action. You have to move the underbrush. That's underbrush. You have to trust that on the other side is something better than you have right now. You say, whoa, Rev, I thought the other side had my desires, my dreams. If you have a desire and you have a dream, I want to tell you, if you study your scripture well, if you check off some of the positive writings that are available to you, you'll find that that desire, that dream is something bigger than you, that comes from something bigger than you, and that it's not about what really is on the other side. It's about you moving toward it. Understand that. Something better waits for you on the other side of the underbrush and the weeds. But will it be what I want? It will be better than you have. It will be better than you have. Think that. It will be greater than you have. You say, well, how can you guarantee that, Reverend? How can you guarantee it? I want to guarantee. You want to guarantee that it'll be better than you have? Yes. Do that, Rev.R. Ken, sir. The experience of moving the underbrush will give you more than you had when you were standing there. So when you get to the other side, you will have more than you had standing there waiting. Yes, I can guarantee it. Faith is not about pretending. Faith is about doing. Faith doesn't play like there is no fear. Why? Faith does not pretend like there's no fear. Faith is the choice that you take, the choice that we take, the choice that we take that says, I'm not going to let this fear decide my life. I'm going to lean on some faith. And I want to talk about where we come from. Whoop! Where's the we? When we get into the we, Reverend? See, within the Black experience, and you might not know it, but I am a Black man. But in our experience, faith often meant continuing to build, continuing to hope, continuing to move, even when circumstances offered little reassurance. I got to stop for a minute. Because you said, Reverend, the Black experience. That sounds like what we're going to do right now. With everything that's against us as a people, not as a Black people, as a human race in this country, there is no assurance that our actions, our march, there's no assurance that it's going to work, but we have to do it because we have faith that it will. We have faith to keep going without guarantees. We have faith to continue believing that something more is possible. Wow. That's where we are as a country, and that's what we have gone through as Black people. We've come to the point that makes this particular thing that we do, this celebration that we have, this service that we have on Sundays, makes it a little different. Because this is the time we set aside each week, not just to listen, but to explore together. And we must know that as we pose these inquiries, there is no perfect answer. It's just your experience that you might want to share. As the guide, I just lay out a few guidelines that you can take during this period, any direction that you might want to. Because I want you to think just for a moment, I want you to think of a time when you had to move forward before you had clear evidence things gonna work out. Would you like to share a situation where that was the case? Moving forward, but not knowing. I know myself, I can think of many times that I moved forward without knowing, but I can think of many times that I didn't when I could have and should have. It's part of that life experience. Anytime that I didn't know I was going to work out, but I decided that I would take a step. Now, if you're watching on the social platforms outside of our personal platform, our private platform that we open to all on Team, then you might have a comment that you'd like to drop in your box like YouTube, Facebook, and we will get to those during the course of the week. We won't be able to answer them today, but we invite you that if you are on any of those social platforms, the next time, come on over to Team so you can participate in the conversation. Think about this and see if you can add to the sharing here. What tends to challenge your faith most? Delay, uncertainty, what challenges your faith the most? I would say for myself, my revelation is that it's fear. You say, fear? I mean, you're a minister, dude. You be talking to God and stuff, right? When you break fear down to the definition that many of us know, false evidence appearing real. So it's false evidence appearing real. And most times I found as I examine that I'm creating the false evidence or choosing to choose the false part of a thing before I have to go into the prayer, before I have to go into the meditation. And again, if you're outside of our Team viewer, our Team platform, if you're outside of the Team platform, please, if you have a comment or even a question, drop it in the chat and we'll see what we can do to respond to you at a later time. And then finally, I want to ask this question. What might become possible if you just trusted yourself more consistently? Oh my God, the greatness, that could be part of my life if I just trusted myself more consistently. And before we move from this period, this portion of time, let me say this consistently. So there are times that we trust ourselves and there are times that we don't. We say, well, I'm glad I didn't do that because that was not the right thing to do. So was that lack of faith, Reverend? Or what was that? Because I didn't do it because that wasn't the right thing to do. And the evidence said it wasn't right. So I didn't do it. It didn't come out. So was that having faith? There's also something that we put with faith and with love called discernment. And we want to use that in conjunction with our actions. Well, what's the discernment? How do I get it? You get an idea, know that the idea, the desire came from something much higher than you within you. And if it gave you the idea, if it opened a channel for the idea, it can also open a channel to know how to execute that idea, because sometimes it's not that it was a bad idea, but it was poor execution. You see, faith is not supposed to, it doesn't always remove uncertainty. Sometimes it just gives us the strength to continue through the situation. And it's often a thing where as we move down the path, things become visible because now we're moving toward them as opposed to looking and waiting for them to be perfect, whole, and complete before we move to them. I want to get to the other thing that we do, and that's the spiritual inquiry. The spiritual inquiry is something that you can take, you can write down, you can hold and work with during the course of the week. The difference is that you don't try to answer it. You allow that thing within you that I say that's there, that faith that's there, that spirit that's there, that source that's there, that's bringing forth the desire. You allow it to answer. That's what the spiritual inquiry is. And today's inquiry is, why am I now trusting the deeper wisdom within me, even before results appear? Why am I now trusting this deeper power, wisdom, discernment within me before there's any physical appearance? Let that work with you throughout the course of the week, the course of the day, however you like. But don't try to answer. Don't force the answer. Allow the answer. Have faith that the answer will come. Yes, have faith that the answer will come. Awareness allows us to see. Release allows us to move. Reframing allows us to see differently. To see differently. And action allows us to express it. And faith allows us to continue beyond our physical vision. And beginning May 31st, I'm going to let you know about something that's coming up that's very powerful and very important for those that would like to go even deeper. We will continue with this new 5-week series that we're working on now, but we will also begin on May 31st a new 5-week series called Healing in Practice. Healing in Practice. Exploring how spiritual principles can be applied to healing in everyday life. You'll be able to go, you can go to our website at any time and choose whether to get involved on team or just watch. usually on YouTube. And that website is Unity OCS. That's Unity Otto Steve, Carl Steve .org, unityocs.org, and there are options right on the front page to how you would like to view, you would like to participate in our offerings, how we bring it to you on Sundays. You can participate live with us on Team, or you can watch on one of the social platforms. Practical spiritual living. Practical spiritual living. This series and also the healing series, the same place. It starts the 31st, and it will be right after or soon after, a few minutes break after our regular practical spiritual living sharing. And now from the Unity of Chicago South Beyond Spiritual Walls community, this is Rev.R. Letting you know that we appreciate you. And until next time, blessings and bliss and namaste.